Hi, I'm Yvonne from Pree Designs Papercrafting. Thanks for dropping by and having a look at my video. I have to redo the little intro to this video. Luckily, I videoed most of it last week as I've come down with yet another flu virusy thing. So my voice is really croaky. Anyway, this is my card number 3 of One Bundle 4 Ways using the Pretty Poinsettia bundle of products. So I'll flip the camera around and show you what I've created. So the Poinsettia bundle, the Pretty Poinsettia, is from our July online exclusive line of products. Stampin' Up put out our annual or our catalogues, which are now 3 per year, but then every 2 months we have a group of online products, which is fabulous. It keeps us up on trend and it saves supply issues. So this is it here. It's a great set, and here are the cards that I've made so far. This one is card number 1, which you can have a look at my video if you would like to see how I constructed that. Card number 2 is using the Night of Navy white, a little bit of sprinkle with the Winker Stella. And then today's card is card number 3, which shows you using the gold, white and cherry cobbler. So the stamp set that we use in the Pretty Poinsettia is this one here. It is a great stamp set, and the die set has all of these dies to coordinate, which I like to put them on a magnetic sheet so that you can see them. Now these dies aren't your usual or your normal dies. They actually work perfectly with our impressions mat, which you'll see me use and I'll explain in the videos. You die cut and then put the die back through to get all of the paper pushed through all of these spaces in the die. It's a great concept. It makes for a really 3D effect. So sit back and watch me make this card. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start with a card base, which is half of an A4 sheet cut at 14.8 in width by the full A4, scored at 10.5. Then we're going to bring in a cherry cobbler mat, which is 13.8 by 9.5. Now that's half a centimetre border on each of the 4 edges, just to really make this white part pop. And then the top mat is 13.3 by 9 centimetres. So you can see the difference in the mats there. This one only has 1/4 of a centimetre, or 0.25 millimeters as the border. Then I'm also going to use what I've used in my other 2 cards with the shimmery stripes, but I'm going to bring in the gold this time. So we've done the 2 previous cards were red, white and the shimmery stripes, and then Night of Navy, the shimmery stripes and white. So this time we're going to do a little bit of gold. So what I need to do first off is go away and cut my die pieces. I'm going to cut the leaf detail out of the shimmery stripes, and then all of my poinsettias, I'll get another piece, out of the gold foil, and then my little center out of the gold, out of the shimmery stripes as well. So I'll go away and I'll do that and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so here are all of my die cuts. As I showed you on the last 2 videos, you with the poinsettias, you die cut the leaf or the detail first, and then you keep the cardstock into the die and then pop it back through your cut and emboss machine, but with the impressions mat over the top, which is soft, which allows all of the holes or the detail in the die to actually push through the negative space, which then helps to make the detail beautiful. It's just a really nice depth of interest and just takes your die cutting to the next level. I've got also the 2 little centers of the poinsettias. Oh, let's come out, pop you out there. All right, now I'm just going to pop the poinsettias together, and I'm going to use glue dots because with your foil, if you over glue or get a little bit of spillage, or as I like to say, smooshes out, you're going to get residue onto your foil, which won't look as nice. So just a little glue dot. I like to use my Take My Pick tool to pick the glue dot up. And as before, I actually made 2 poinsettias. This time I'm just going to make one, but using the 4 sets of petals. So just a layer, oopsie, all of my petals up. Excuse my voice, I still have a bit of a flu residue. I've been not so well for the last few weeks, but hopefully it is about to end. So that is my absolutely beautiful poinsettia. Then I'm just going to use one of the little centers, and you can see here I am just using my paper of the glue dot just to manipulate that. I'm not wrapping the glue, oh, if you can see it, I'm not wrapping the glue dot around the point of the Take Your Pick tool, but I'm using it to hold the glue dot, but to manipulate the shape of the glue dot to make it really, really small. If you put your fingers on the glue dot, of course, you're going to lose, oopsie, some of the stickiness. I had to just to make it stick in the right spot. And then take my cover off the other end of the Take Your Pick tool, and I could pick my work up. So that is my poinsettia finished. Really, really lovely. So I'll put that aside and then bring in my mat and put some interest and detail onto the mat. The first thing I'm going to do is use, I should have shown you this, use the stamps. So I'm actually going to use this one up here. And I'm going to use a Merry and Bright Christmas greeting. So I'm just going to add some of this little detail just into the corners. I don't really know what this is supposed to be, but it's just a nice little background. Right, so I've got my block and I'm using Basic Beige as my colour, because again, I don't want to put a lot of colour and a lot of detail, but I like the way the Basic Beige has more of like a brown or gold tone, which should pick up the gold in the poinsettia. All right, then I'm also going to bring in a piece of scrap white and stamp the Merry and Bright. And I'm going to stamp that in Cherry Cobbler. Just in the middle, and then I'm going to fussy cut that. Leave those two for a few moments to dry off while I close my ink pads. Okay, so now I'm going to emboss the background or the mat, and this is a gorgeous embossing folder. It's supersized, and I don't want this flower because I think that will change the look of the poinsettia, or I could put that there. I'm just going to test how big my points. Oh yes, that actually could look rather nice. So changed my mind. I'm going to put that through there, and then my leaf detail, put it down a tiny little bit more. I'm planning this as I'm going, as you can see. The idea is in my head, and then I like to just play with ideas that I've got, because then I'm going to put my leaf detail through there, and I'm going to put my poinsettia on there. So I'll go away and I will emboss that. All right, we're back with the embossed piece. Oh yes, that looks lovely. I like to dry emboss. It just changes your work from a plain piece of card to something pretty wow. That just adds beautiful texture. So now I'm going to get ready to put my pieces down onto my card. I'm going to use mini glue, not mini glue dots, I've already used those, mini dimensionals. And again, as I've said in my previous videos, I like to use my Take My Pick tool. It makes it nice and easy to pick up the dimensionals off the backing paper, and then it also makes it easy to take off the little papers on the back of the dimensionals. All right, so that's going to go there. You can see using the dimensionals, it just lifts it up, but I haven't put dimensionals on all of the leaves so that you've still got a little bit of movement there. I'm going to also help to make my poinsettia pop, and I'm just going to bring in my paper piercing mat, which I use for stamping as well. Just pull my backing paper back, and I'm going to use the end of my Take My Pick tool just to push that down in the middle which you can see that has really lifted and given that poinsettia dimension. Super easy. I've done it over the glittery striped or the striped, shimmery striped paper so that I don't damage the foil, and that has really made that pop. Then to bring in a few dimensionals, I'm going to put a large one in the center there. And actually that's all I'm going to put down. I really squished that down a little bit, so I'm going to bring my mat back and repeat that process. But hopefully it hasn't stuck too hard to the mat. I should have put my, it has. I should have put my silicone mat underneath that. And now I'm going to place my poinsettia. I'm not sure which way I'm going to put it. I think I will have it that way. I'm just going to double check that I'm not going over the edge. Nope, I'm not going over the edge of the card. I'm going to pop that onto my mat, my cherry cobbler mat, and I'll use our Tombow glue for that. Just a little bit of glue around the edges. I don't go all the way to the very, very edges because if you over glue, it often smooshes out the sides and then you have glue residue on your mat. And then I'm going to adhere all of that with dimensionals so that it lifts it up beautifully onto the card base. Excuse me. Take my papers off again. You can see how effortless it is using the paper piercing tool to take those papers off. If you have arthritic style fingers or long fingernails, sometimes that's a little bit hard to get those little fiddly pieces off. The Take Your Pick tool makes it really super easy. All right, so that's it so far. Now, just to fussy cut my greeting. There you go. And you can see when I did that, I actually moved the paper, not the scissors, when I'm fussy cutting. Just makes it much easier to get a more even border all around your stamped image. And if you leave a little white border of your cardstock or border, whatever the colour is, it actually is easier on the eye. And if you don't have it all, the border all even all the way around, if you've left a white space or a space around your stamped image, your eye is not drawn to the fact that it's not perfectly even. All right, I'm just going to pop that down there. And then the final thing I need to add an insert an envelope and a little bit of bling. All right, so here's where I will bring my paper piercing mat back in, and which is the perfect stamping mat as well, especially with our clear stamps or photopolymer stamps. And you can see there I inked once, but I stamped 3 times, and I'm going to do the same for the insert. It just makes it and gives it a nice depth of colour. And then a little bit of adhesive on the back of that. Pop that into my card. And there you have it. Oops, I nearly forgot. I need a little bit of bling on there as well. The metallic adhesive gems are perfect. For this, I'm going to use the gold in the, it's a bit hard to tell that that is gold, but it is. In the pack, you get, just trying to think, copper, silver, and gold. They are just absolutely beautiful. I'm just trying to decide where to put them. I will put the large and the small up here, and then another large, I think, down here. All right, so that is card number 3 of my 1 bundle 4 ways. Okay, so this is card number 3. Card number 1 showcases pretty much the same products. The cherry cobbler, making 2 poinsettias out of the 4 poinsettia dies, using the shimmery stripes again. And then card number 2 was the navy blue and white, again making the 2 poinsettias and using the shimmery stripes paper. So hopefully that shows you 3 completely different cards using the same products, 1 bundle, 3 ways so far, 4 ways coming up next week. Thanks very much. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you get automatic notification when I log another YouTube video. Thank you.